Morning mist. Let's start tonight's boring history story. You wake up to the damp chill of a 9th century Viking longhouse. The air thick with the scent of smoked fish and wet wool. The fire pit's embers glow faintly, casting long shadows on the woven tapestries that barely keep the morning mist at bay. Your fingers brush against the rough linen of your bedroll, the texture grounding you in this moment. Outside, the distant caw of ravens mingles with the rhythmic snoring of your family, still lost in sleep. The floor beneath your bare feet is cold, packed earth worn smooth by generations. You shuffle toward the hearth, where last night's fish bones lie scattered like tiny arrows. A copper pot hangs from the iron hook, its surface dull with soot. You reach for the wooden ladle, its handle worn smooth by your mother's hands before yours. The sound of it clinking against the pot is soft, almost music-hall, a morning ritual as old as the fjords themselves. A draft sneaks in through the doors, carrying the salty tang of the nearby sea. You pull your woolen shawl tighter, the fibers scratchy but familiar. The first light of dawn filters through the smoke hole, painting the room in hues of gold and gray. It's a quiet magic, this in-between time when the world is neither night nor day. You kneel by the hearth, blowing gently on the embers until a tiny flame licks at the dry kindling. The fire's crackle is a language you understand, a whisper of warmth in a world of cold. The smoke curls upward, carrying with it the memories of countless mornings just like this one. Outside, the village stirs, the distant clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the bleat of goats, the murmur of voice soul weave into the tapestry of your day. But for now, it's just you and the fire, the quiet, and the promise of cloudberries waiting in the dew-laden meadow. Tesserm elements, crackling fire, wooden ladle clinking, wool fabric rustling, distant raven calls. Berry Quest. The morning mist clings to your skin as you step outside. The dewy grass cool beneath your bare feet. The village is still half asleep. The only sounds the distant murmur of the river and the occasional bleat of a goat. You adjust the woven basket on your hip, its rough fibers familiar against your fingertips. Today's mission: the secret cloudberry patch hidden beyond the birch grove. The path is narrow, winding through tall grasses that brush against your legs, leaving tiny droplets of dew in their wake. The air smells of earth and wild thyme, a scent that lingers like a promise. You pause to pluck a handful of wild strawberries, their sweetness bursting on your tongue, a small reward for the journey ahead. The birch trees stand like silent sentinels, their white bark peeling in delicate curls. You run your fingers along one, the texture smooth yet weathered, like the stories your grandmother used to tell. The leaves rustle softly above, a whisper of encouragement. Beyond them, the meadow opens up, a sea of green dotted with the golden glow of cloudberries. You kneel beside the first cluster, the berries plump and sun-warmed. Their delicate skin gives way under your gentle touch, releasing a scent that's both tart and sweet. The sound of each berry dropping into the basket is soft, rhythmic, a quiet melody of harvest. The work is slow, methodical. You lose yourself in the repetition, the world narrowing to the feel of the berries, the weight of the basket, the hum of bees hovering nearby. A ladybug lands on your wrist, its tiny legs tickling your skin before it takes flight again. By the time the sun is high, your basket is nearly full. The last few berries cling stubbornly to their stems, as if reluctant to leave. You pluck them carefully, savoring the way their juice stains your fingertips, a fleeting mark of your labor. As you turn to leave, a breeze stirs the grass, carrying with it the faintest hint of smoke from the village hearths. The journey back is lighter, the basket swaying gently with each step. The cloudberries will soon become jam, their golden essence preserved for the long winter ahead. But for now, they are simply a treasure, carried home in the quiet of the morning. Acerm elements, rustling grass, berries dropping into the basket, distant bee hum, breeze through birch leaves, wooden alchemy. Back in the longhouse, the hearth fire crackles warmly, its glow casting flickering shadows on the walls. You set the basket of cloudberries on the rough-hewn table, their golden hue vivid against the dark wood. The birch bark bowls, carved by your own hands years ago, wait patiently beside the mortar and pestle. The rhythmic clunk of the wooden spoon against the bowls begins to sound as familiar as your own heartbeat. The berries tumble into the mortar, their delicate skins bursting under the pestle's weight. The scent is immediate, tangy and bright, like sunlight captured in a jar. You add a drizzle of honey, its golden threads weaving through the crushed fruit. The mixture thickens slowly, the spoon moving in steady circles, each stroke a quiet incantation. The fire's heat is just right, not too fierce, not too faint. You lean closer, the warmth brushing your cheeks as you stir. The jam begins to bubble, tiny pops and sighs escaping the pot. The sound is hypnotic, a lullaby of transformation. Outside, the wind picks up, rattling the door slightly. But inside, the world is reduced to this: the scrape of the spoon, the hiss of the jam, the occasional crackle of the fire. You lose track of time, lost in the alchemy of sugar and fruit. A drop of jam splashes onto your wrist, startlingly hot. You lick it off without thinking, the flavor exploding on your tongue sweet and utterly alive. It's a taste that carries memories. Your mother's hands guiding yours, the first time you made this alone, the winters this jam has seen you through. As the jam thickens, you test it with a wooden stick, watching how it clings. Perfect. You lift the pot from the fire, the weight of it solid in your hands. The jam will cool now, its glow deepening to amber. Tomorrow, it will be sealed in jars, ready for trade or feast. But tonight, it's simply yours, a quiet triumph of patience and wood smoke. Acerm elements, spoon clinking against wood, jam bubbling, fire crackling. Wind up the door, honey heist. The honey jar sits on the shelf, its beeswax seal gleaming faintly in the firelight. You reach for it, fingers brushing the smooth clay surface, only to freeze. The seal is broken, a tiny crack running through the wax like a betrayal. Your heart sinks. Honey is precious, traded for with furs and iron, and now someone has stolen a taste. The longhouse is quiet, the others still outside tending to chores. You lift the jar, weighing it in your hands. It's lighter than it should be. A sticky trail glistens on the rim, evidence of the thief's haste. You press a fingertip to it, the honey clinging like guilt. Your mind races. Was it one of the children, unable to resist the sweetness? Or perhaps your brother, who always claims he just needs a little for his mead? The thought of confronting him makes your stomach twist. But the honey is needed for the jam, for the winter, for the promise it represents. You kneel by the hearth, stirring the jam absently as you plot. The spoon clinks against the pot, a steady counterpoint to your thoughts. Outside, the chickens cluck, oblivious to your dilemma. A plan forms. You'll set a trap, a dab of honey on the shelf, and wait to see whose fingers return sticky. Night falls, and the longhouse fills with the sounds of sleep. You lie awake, listening for the faintest creak of footsteps. The fire burns low, its embers painting the room in shades of orange and black. Just as your eyelids grow heavy, a shadow moves near the shelf. It's not your brother. It's not even human. A mouse, its tiny paws still glistening, freezes under your gaze. You almost laugh. The thief is no bigger than your thumb. In the morning, you mend the seal with fresh beeswax, the honey jar restored to its place. The mouse, you decide, can keep its prize. After all, Winter is long, and even the smallest creatures deserve a taste of sweetness. Acerm elements, clay jar scraping, honey dripping, fire crackling, mouse skittering, fire dance. The hearth fire is a living thing, tonic, capricious, flickering between docile embers and sudden, snapping flares. You kneel before it, your shadow stretching long against the wooden beams of the longhouse. The jam pot hangs from its iron hook, the cloudberry mixture inside bubbling lazily. But the fire beneath it refuses to settle. One moment, it's a whisper of heat. The next, a roar that licks at the pot's base, threatening to scorch your precious concoction. You adjust the logs with a charred stick, the wood groaning as it shifts. The sparks that rise are like tiny, fleeting stars, winking out before they reach the smoke hole. The rhythm of fire tending is a dance you know by heart. A nudge here, a breath there. The careful balance between neglect and interference. Too much attention, and the flames grow timid. Too little, and they rebel. The smoke curls around you, carrying the scent of birch bark and something deeper, older than memory of 1,000 fires before this one. It stings your eyes, but you don't blink. This is the price of alchemy. Your hands, calloused and sure, hover near the heat, judging its temper like a horse trainer with a skittish stallion. Outside, the wind howls, rattling the shutters. The draft sneaks in, making the flames sway as if in reply. You shiver, though not from the cold. There's something alive in this moment, something primal. The fire is not just a tool, it's a companion, a trickster, a force that must be respected. A log collapses with a sigh, sending up a shower of embers. You catch one on your palm, letting it burn out against your skin. The pain is sharp but fleeting, a reminder that even beauty has teeth. The jam, oblivious to the drama below, thickens slowly, its surface shimmering like molten gold. By the time the fire finally settles, your back aches and your knees are stiff, but the jam is perfect. Graceful steps of the night. Tomorrow, there will be more wood to chop, more fires to tend. But tonight, there is only this, the quiet, the warmth, and the knowledge that you've tamed the untamable. If only for a little while. Acerm elements, crackling fire, shifting logs, wind rattling shutters, bubbling jam. Neighbors' curiosity. The scent of simmering cloudberry jam drifts beyond your longhouse, weaving through the village like an invisible thread. You're stirring the pot with slow, deliberate strokes when the door creaks open without warning. Astrid from the neighboring fjord stands there, her sharp nose twitching like a fox catching prey scent. Her woolen shawl is damp with morning dew, and her eyes, always too keen for your liking, lock onto the bubbling pot immediately. Smells like summer trapped in a jar, she remarks, stepping inside without invitation. The floorboards groan under her weight, a sound you've come to associate with trouble. Astrid is the kind of woman who remembers every favor and forgets every debt. Her fingers, rough from weaving but nimble as a thief's, tap against the edge of your table. Did you use the honey from old Egil's hives? Or did you finally trade for that southern stuff? You keep stirring, the wooden spoon scraping the pot's bottom. The jam clings to it in thick, glossy ribbons. Neither. You lie smoothly, just what the bees left us. Astrid's smirk tells you she doesn't believe a word. She leans closer, her shadow falling across the firelight, and inhales deeply. The sound is exaggerated, theatrical, a performance for an audience of one. I'd swear there's a hint of thyme, or maybe marjoram. Her tone is light, but her gaze is calculating. You resist the urge to tighten your grip on the spoon. The herb in question was gathered from the meadow's edge, a secret touch your mother taught you. Astrid wouldn't know marjoram from moss, but she's probing for weaknesses, for trade secrets. The fire pops suddenly, sending a spark onto the hearthstone. Astrid jumps, and you hide a smile. Careful, you say, nodding to her shawl. Wool burns quick. She scowls but steps back, her curiosity momentarily outweighed by self-preservation. For a while, the only sounds are the jam's lazy bubbles and Astrid's restless fingers drumming against her belt. With a sigh, she straightens. If you're not sharing recipes, maybe you will share the jar? My cousin's visiting from the north. He's got a taste for sweet things. You ladle a small portion into a clay dish, not enough to be generous, not little enough to offend. Astrid takes it with a grunt, her fingers brushing yours. Her skin is surprisingly warm. Winter's coming, she says at the door, her voice uncharacteristically soft. Best make more. When she's gone, you stir the jam harder, as if to erase her presence. The pot's contents shimmer, innocent. The tension. Outside, a raven calls. Its cry sharp as Astrid's curiosity. You'll double the batch tomorrow, you decide. And maybe just hide a jar or two where even the cleverest fox can't sniff it out. Acerm elements, spoon scraping pot, fire popping, door creaking, raven calling. The moment you've both anticipated and dreaded arrives when your husband's trading partner, Harold the Broad, stomps into the longhouse, his boots shedding clumps of mud onto the freshly swept floor. His beard is frosted with ale foam, and his laughter shakes the rafters. They say your woman makes jam fit for the gods. He booms, slapping your husband's back. Let's see if it's true. Eh? Your fingers tighten around the wooden spoon. Harold's visits are rare, but memorably his tongue is as sharp as his axe, and his praise, when given, can turn a humble recipe into legend. You fetch a small birchwood bowl, the one carved with protective runes, and ladle a careful portion of the cloudberry jam. The firelight catches its amber depths, making it glow like captured sunlight. Harold takes the bowl with a grunt, his calloused fingers dwarfing it. He sniffs, his nostrils flaring. Smells like summer, he mutters. And for a heartbeat, you dare to hope. Then he takes a bite. The longhouse falls silent. Even the fire seems to hold its breath. Harold's face is unreadable as he chews, his beard twitching. You count the seconds, son. 3 until he swallows. Then, without warning, he thrusts the bowl back at you. More, he demands. Relief floods you, warm as mead. You fill the bowl, this time adding a dollop of fresh cream from the morning's milking. Harold devours it in 2 bites, then wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. He declares, as if pronouncing judgment on a disputed land claim, better than good. You'll make me a batch for the Yule feast. I'll trade you iron for it. Your husband's eyes gleam and is precious. Harder to come by than honey or furs, but you hesitate. The cloudberries are nearly gone, and the patch beyond the birch grove won't fruit again until next summer. It'll need time, you say carefully. Harold shrugs. Winter's long. Just don't let Astrid near it. He barks a laugh at his own joke, then lumbers out, leaving the door ajar. Cold air rushes in, making the fire sputter. You stare at the half-empty jam pot, its contents suddenly more valuable than gold. Harold's approval is a shield, a guarantee that your name and your recipe will be spoken of in halls beyond your fjord, but it's also a burden. The next batch must be perfect. No pressure. No shortcuts. Just you, the berries, and the quiet alchemy of patience. Some elements. Spoon clinking against bowl. Fire crackling. Boots stomping. Distant wind. Preservation secrets. The village gathers as the first frost paints the grass silver, their breath visible in the crisp morning air. You stand before them, a line of seal bladders laid out on the communal table like strange, translucent fruit. The elders' murmur-clay jars have always been their way, sturdy and familiar. But you know the truth. Winter steals flavor from jam stored in clay, leaving behind a shadow of summer's brightness. The bladders, though, they breathe. You lift one. Its surface cool and slightly tacky. Watch, you say, pouring a stream of cloudberry jam into its open neck. The bladder stretches, accommodating the golden flow without protest. You tie it shut with a strip of sinew, the knot neat and tight. No air, no frost, no stolen taste. The villagers lean in, skeptical but intrigued. Old Thora sniffs, and how do we know it won't rot by solstice? You smile, though your fingers ache from the cold, because I've tested it. From your belt pouch, you produce a smaller bladderone you sealed at midsummer. With a careful slice of your knife, you open it. The scent that escapes is unmistakable. Ripe berries, and the faintest whisper of time. The color hasn't dulled. You dip a wooden stick in and offer it to Thora. Her eyes widen as she tastes. She grumbles. By afternoon, the bladders are in high demand. You demonstrate the tying technique again and again, your voice growing hoarse from explanation. Children dart between legs, collecting discarded sinew for games. The blacksmith's wife, usually silent, asks if the method works for lingonberries too. You nod, and she presses a small iron awl into your hand for the tough spots. She says, and suddenly, you're not just the jam maker, you're the keeper of a secret that might outlast you. As the sun dips behind the mountains, you pack up the remaining bladders. Your husband lingers, watching the villagers disperse. They'll forget by spring, he says. But you know better. Tradition starts small, a knot, a taste, a shared defiance of winter's hunger. The bladders will hang in dark corners of every longhouse now, cradling summer's light until the thaw. And when the jars are empty and the snow is deep, someone will slice open a bladder and remember this was your gift. Some elements, sinew stretching, bladder filling, knife slicing, distant children laughing. Winter test. Months. And the world outside your longhouse becomes a realm of white silence. The snow drifts, swallow fences whole, and the river sleeps under a thick sheet of ice. Inside, the fire is a constant companion, its glow painting the walls in flickering amber. The seal bladder of cloudberry jam hangs from the rafters, golden promise against the gloom. You touch it occasionally, checking its firmness, marveling at how it holds time itself in its translucent skin. The Yule feast approaches, and with it herald the Broad's return. The village buzzes with preparations brewed, bread baked, fires stoked higher than usual. You wake before dawn on the feast day, your breath fogging the air as you lower the bladder with reverent hands. The sinew knot resists at first, then gives way with a soft snap. The scent that rushes out is summer incarnate, bright, untouched by winter's hunger. You spread the jam on flatbread still warm from the hearth. The contrast of cold jam and steaming bread a small miracle. Your husband takes the first bite, his eyes closing. He admits, as if the words are dragged from him. You hide a smile. The seal bladder's magic is in the details, the way it preserved not just the jam, but the memory of sun-warmed berries and the hum of bees. When Harold arrives, his beard crusted with snow, He makes straight for the food. He samples the smoked fish, the roasted boar, then pauses at the jam-laden bread. One bite, then another. His brow furrows. This is the same batch? He asks, peering at you. You nod. He grunts, then turns to the gathered villagers. Listen well, this is how you cheat winter. Laughter erupts, and suddenly, your bladder method is the talk of the feast. Later, as the fire burns low and the voices grow sleepy, you notice Astrid examining an empty bladder, her fingers tracing the seams. She catches your eye and, for once, doesn't smirk. She says quietly, and it feels like a truce. The night ends with stories and the slow, contented sighs of full bellies. Outside, the snow continues to fall, but inside, the taste of summer lingers. The winter test is passed. The jam, like your name, will be remembered. Asim elements, bladder snapping open, bread tearing, fire crackling, snow tapping on roof, legacy in layers. Generations later, your great-granddaughter kneels in the same meadow where you once gathered cloudberries. Her fingers stained purple with lingonberries instead. The birch grove still stands, though taller now, their leaves whispering stories they've witnessed. She hums as she works a tune you once sang, though neither of you know it. The wooden spoon she uses is newer, but the rhythm of crushing fruit remains unchanged. When she adds a handful of your cloudberries to the mix, the past and present fold together like layers of dough. Back in the longhouse, rebuilt twice since your time, she stirs the pot over a fire that crackles with the same impatience. The scent is different, lingon burr is sharper, more assertive, but the alchemy is familiar. Her husband's trading partner, a man with Harold's booming laugh but none of his subtlety, declares it the best yet. She smiles but doesn't explain the secret, that every batch carries the ghost of another. At night, when the children sleep, she slices open a seal bladder from the back of the storage shelf. The jam inside is decades old. Its color deepened to near golden brown. She tastes it, and for a moment, the longhouse walls fade. She sees a woman with hands like hers, blowing on embers, bartering with bees. The flavor is time itself, sweet, faintly smoky, impossibly alive. The next morning, she tucks a fresh bladder into the rafters, beside the empty one she'll never throw away. Outside, the first snow of winter begins to fall. Somewhere, a spoon clinks against a pot. The circle continues. Unbroken, acerb elements, berries crushing, fire popping, bladder opening, distant snowfall. That's all for today. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe, and good night.